Blessings and good afternoon to you all. I am the one and only Mr. LP Stephen Sykes of ENLIVENGlobalmedia. And today, on these chilly Januaries, I have a wonderful guest in here that's always about her mission, her passion, and so many more wonderful things. And I'm going to let her introduce herself. I have the lovely.
Yes, I am Aronda. I am the CEO and owner of Aronda Company and also go by Glam Goddess on YouTube.
Mm. Well. One, a goddess that we already know. We're going to make sure everybody understands that and things. Thank you so very much for joining us today. First and foremost, how was your holiday?
It was wonderful. It's kind of quiet, but different, but it was good. How was yours?
It was good, quiet, different. We all wanted different with more things, but hey, I have my life and my health, and I'm grateful. Uh, so a lot of people did not make it, and we've lost a lot of wonderful people before, during, and after the holidays, and people are hurting also in our families and nurses and doctors. So it's so good. It's been a really rough one, but I'm good and glad that we're here. We're going to
Amen.
try to push it from there. Now, tell me about yourself. Where are you from?
I am born and raised in Petersburg, Virginia.
Oh, Lord Jesus, Petersburg. Oh, gosh. Are
Yep.
you claiming Petersburg, or you somewhere around it, Dinwiddie, or, Hopewell? Or you?
Well, technically, the area that I grew up in is close to Prince George, but right when it was time to go to high school, they moved the county lines back. So
Okay.
we ended up going to Petersburg.
Okay. So you stuck with the Petersburg name. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, we're glad to know that not everybody in Petersburg is crazy. Teasing.
No, not everyone, not everyone.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So tell me, what was your life as a young woman growing up in Petersburg, Virginia, or Prince George, and around the area? Because everybody had a different, unique experience. Growing up. We're gonna say the 2000s because we know you're only like 19, 20 years old. But what was your experience growing up as a young woman of color at that time?
My experience it was difficult for me. I was teased a lot in school. My parents were really strict. We grew up Seven-Day Adventist, so we
Mm.
didn't get to participate in a lot of the games. I remember I wanted to, and I had been approached to play basketball. My parents were against it. So I did not get to play basketball. I wanted to be a majorette. I didn't get to do that. I wanted to be on the DECA team. I couldn't do that. So yeah, it was pretty rough. And so my parents put me in private school from third grade until high school.
Mm.
So when by the time I got to high school, I didn't really know anybody. There were a few people that I was in elementary school with before I left, but of course, they either would try to pretend like they didn't remember me or whatever the case may be. So it was a very, very rough experience for me.
So they were teasing you because you were 7 Day Adventist and you just did not get it because you weren't allowed to do a whole bunch of different things.
They were teasing me for that. They were teasing me because I wore glasses. They were teasing me because I was tall and lanky. I was really skinny. So I got called Stephanie Urkel and
Oh gosh.
Jolly Green Giant. And, they would joke on my neck because I had a long neck. They would joke on my feet. You got long feet for a girl. I just caught it really, really bad.
Well, let me tell you, you're no way near. I guess just maybe because of my experiences in life and being around the world, you're not. I know the average height for women is around 5'6", 5'7", but for me, it just all the women around me were always 5'10", 6', 6'4", 6'8". So it never occurred to me until after I got out of college that there was always some women that were shorter, on average, shorter than 5'10".
Yeah.
You see a few, but everybody was just like, okay, I'm 5'6" anyway. So, but I wear a 14 shoe, 14, 15. So I can understand the jokes and things that goes along with that and things. So, but as you growing up through this process and, trying to come into your own at high school and everything else afterwards, what was some of the things that you had to find within yourself to be able to keep going? What were some of the things that you did? Was there anybody that was a mediator before you and your parents, or helped mentor you as you got older?
For me, it was my older sister. My older sister was very hands-on with us growing up, almost kind of like a second mom. And, my dad, he was teased heavily in school as well. So he would give me advice, and my mom was very encouraging. I remember one time she told me I was getting teased about my neck, I think it was. And she said, oh, and my feet. And she said, well, do your neck and your feet work? And I said, well, they do. And she said, are they abnormal? And I said, well, no, they're not. And she said, well, then that means, God made you wonderfully blessed. So there's nothing wrong with you. And I don't know why that stuck with me, but when she said that, it just made me realize that there was nothing wrong with me, and it made me start to be able to process the jokes and not take it personally and just start to look past that. So that really helped a lot. And then, I grew up religious, so reading the Bible, going to church, being surrounded by, my parents were very strict, so we were only surrounded by people that they approved. So
Mm.
growing up, we learned that everyone was nice, everyone was pleasant, so you get outside of that bubble, and now you're introduced to all these different kinds of people, and it got kind of confusing. And I remember coming home and telling my mom, you said that if I was nice to people, people would be nice to me, but that's not true. And so it was an adjustment, but reading the Bible, being around, good people. I exercised a lot. I was into sports and things of that nature. So I kind of clung to those things growing up.
Understood, understood. So you moved on to college, and you went to.
Yes, I went to Richard Bland first and got an associate's in science there. And then I did go to VCU for some time, and dropped out due to illness. I did not finish. That's one of my biggest regrets in my life, that I did not finish my degree. But I must say, college was awesome for me, as someone who kind of struggled in elementary school all on through high school. When I got to college, I feel like that's when I started to really like myself. I started to, I guess you could say, discover myself, and that things just started to change. You weren't dealing with the immature people, you were starting, I was starting to make friends, things of that nature. So college was a, much different experience.
Well, that I'm grateful that you had a wonderful opportunity and things, and I'm not hating on the people whether they get a degree or not. At the end of the day, you had to do what was best for you, and I'm very proud of you for that because
Thank you.
obviously there are people who were sick and who still try to keep on, and worse things happen. Either they got worse or maybe better. We never know. But what he had planned for you was his plans for you, and I'm grateful that you were able to see through it the way that you needed to and things. So that's wonderful. Um, and then as you, one of the biggest experiences that a lot of people have sometimes here in Richmond, or just in the general area in Virginia overall, is that we've struggled, and especially with our women of color, um, sometimes unity. There may have been some issues. Some feel that there may have been some level of cliquish, people putting on airs, a whole bunch of different things, and especially around the time that you were coming up through high school, college, and getting through your next step. How did you how did you see it, and what were some of the things that you could offer others who may have gone through some similar issues and difficulties to stay above it as you got transitioned into adulthood?
It was extremely cliquish by the time I got to school, because those kids went to school together and graduated up, together. So by the time I got there, everyone had their own groups that they got along with. So I definitely did not fit into any of those groups. I was definitely a loner. But as time went past, I'm really big on people being bullied or being teased. And so when I started to see those things happening around me, I was quick to speak up and, say you can't do that to people. That's not nice. It's not kind or whatever. And that's kind of how I started to develop my friends, was through that. Um, and just, knowing how it feels to be on the end of such negative things. So I developed my friends that way, and I still have some of those friends to this day.
Mm,
Um, but I just believe that we have to learn to embrace our differences. All of us are different for a reason, and that's what makes us unique. And that's what makes us a community.
right.
Everyone can't be exactly the same. And it's really sad that people have that opinion that you have to be exactly like me in order to get along with me, because that's
Exactly.
how you learn and that's how you grow, by meeting someone else who had a different experience, a different background, coming from a different area or whatever. I like to meet new people. I like to meet people who are different. I like to meet people who are different nationalities, because that is how your knowledge grows. So
Exactly.
I believe that you should embrace your differences. And when we were coming up, I started a group called Rubies, which was to mentor young girls, to teach them to be more appropriate around other girls, be nicer, be, kinder, embrace them, create a womanhood, create a sisterhood with girls that you are meeting, encourage them, lift them up, make them feel better, don't put them down and make them feel different. That was what me and my sister tried to do, as we grew up, was embrace people and teach them, like, you don't have to hate on another person in order to shine. That doesn't have to happen.
Amen. And it is very hard because you see a lot of people develop a lot of problems and they still don't resolve them or still struggle through them as you get older. As a person in media and a variety, serving in a lot of areas, you see people where they don't want to take a picture because all they're allowed to do is tease over certain things, such as your neck or your hair and face like that. I'll tell them, and like you're in a business or you're in something that you need pictures or what have you, and you see a lot of women just uncomfortable for whatever reason. And there's not a dang thing wrong with them, but you have to deal with whatever's in their head. And they, I've seen people in their 60s and 70s are still struggling with the level of comfort. And you would initially, those who may not have experience would initially think that, oh, it shouldn't be wrong if you live this long or what have you. But people still struggle with those things, both men and women, and sometimes children, because of how life has treated them. And if we learn to love each other and appreciate them, it's like, okay, move on. Beauty is in the eyes of the behavior, and yes, there are some that may be more attractive to the masses than others, but that does not decrease your value of a person at all.
Right.
And it's I appreciate your group for that because as someone who's tried to encourage women for many years to understand that I'm a good man. So they're not like sometimes, not all, but there are some that are not going to listen to me no matter what I do. So it's we needing more groups and more women like yourself taking the opportunity and you're stepping out there and helping another person because you never know. You quite literally probably saved a lot of lives with that program.
I hope it did help.
I appreciate you. So as you transition and things, you have a wonderful business that you work with. You mentioned the name. You go by Goddess. Why did you choose the name Glam Goddess, by the way?
Um, what's actually funny about that is I wanted to use the word glam Amazon, but someone else had already used it. And I
Okay.
was trying to think of something, because I was always referred to as an Amazon when I was coming up, because I guess Amazon women were large women, tall women, so, and fighters. So I tried to find something kind of similar to that. But I was such a glam person. I wanted the hair, the makeup, the jewelry, the, blinged out this, blinged out that, that I just thought it fit. And I think the more that I started to do more videos, people just said that the name fit me. And, you know, I had thought about changing it, but people were like, absolutely not. Like, that's your name.
You know, that is works. That is work. I do like the name Goddess and things. So tell us about Aronda and Company. Tell us about your clothing line.
So Aronda Company really was developed kind of out of a need. I mostly started my Glam Goddess channel on YouTube because so many plus size women had a hard time finding clothes that fit, and not just that fit, but that was cute and didn't make them look frumpy.
Mhm.
You know, they wanted to look youthful and not, oh, because I'm big, I have to look like a potato sack, you know.
Mhm.
So at the time that I started my channel, it was extremely hard to find plus size clothing. It was extremely hard to, you know, because majority of us, just because we're plus size, we're not all built the same either. So, you know,
Exactly.
there's different body shapes. And I know for me more specifically, I could not find anything that would fit the hips and the waist. So, you
That's a
know,
big
that
thing.
was a struggle. So when girls would see me, they would go, where did you get that from? Where did you get that from? And so once I started to realize I was getting that question a lot, that's what made me start the channel. And over time, so many girls just started joining the channel and asking so many questions. And can you review this company? Can you review this company? And I started to get all these collaborations. I had a huge collaboration with Fashion Nova,
Mhm.
Curvy Sense, just to name a few. I've had quite a few collaborations over the years with other companies, and you know, just trying to help them develop their plus size clothing lines so that they were more rounded, you know, to fit everyone. And after doing that for a while, one of my friends from high school was like, you're doing all this work for all these other companies. He was like, you should do it for yourself. And I was like, what? I was like, I can't, how am I gonna start my own, you know, clothing line? Like, what are you talking about?
That's a good
And I
friend.
started researching it, and that's how I was born. I realized it was actually possible. So I started doing the work and started the company, and I try really hard to make sure that whatever piece I pick, it's going to fit. It's not going to be that small plus size clothing where it really fits an extra large. No, these clothes are going to fit you true to size. The 1X is going to fit from like a 12 to a 14
Yeah, it's not
and
the
on
one
up.
that's the size 8.
Right.
Exactly.
It's going to fit. I make sure my clothing are true to size. And if they're not, I'm not going to sell it. Or I'm going to at least put in the notes, you know, the description, this, you know, size down, so that people are aware. But I don't believe in tricking anybody into buying anything. I don't believe in providing anything that I would not wear personally, because, you know, I don't want people to look at me and go, well, she's all glammed out, but look what she's selling, you know. So,
And you'll see that, and as far as where you'll see one various businesses and sometimes even the major corporate ones, many of them actually, they would find somebody and use them as the token piece and throw them out there as such. Or I have nothing against the women that are plus size and of a certain size, but not all of them are going to have a plus size, but maybe a Coke size type of shape or flat
mhm,
stomach, that type of thing, with some of the more well-known plus size models. And all of you don't come that way. And it's hard for the ones that are in between because you'll see someone 8, 6, 8, and well, yeah, in some cases 6, but 8, 10, 12. They're quick to call them fat.
mhm,
And then necessarily, and then the clothes for the other one don't fit them, so they're stuck in their own world, those who are there. And then everybody 12, 14, what have you. And with the average woman being a size 14, 16 anyway, the vast majority anyway, you're phasing them out.
yeah,
And then you have the issue of somewhere now, because the attention is made there. Now, the ones who are not plus size sometimes feel like, oh, now y'all hating on us, because some will use that as a get back hate on the skinny blinks, as some of them will call them. And, uh, it's become a great thing that the awareness is there, but some unfortunately there's a lot of get back and hate towards that
Mhm.
instead of being a unified group.
It is very true. And that's something that I struggled with my channel. I was in between because you would get the ones that'll call you names. You're fat, you're not, attractive. You would get all kinds of crazy comments, but then you would get the girls who would be like, you're not plus size. That's not what plus size looks like. And I'm like, I'm very much plus size. I'm very aware that I'm plus size. I may not be shaped, as other people are shaped, but I am plus size. I wear plus size clothing. So,
And they looking at the ones that are, and I know it gets harder for those who are, let's say, size 20 and above, 22, 24, 26, 28. And then now, the one thing I appreciate what you present and many others is that there's a level of clean, even if you're not necessarily quote unquote glam, but there's a level of cleanness and appropriateness that goes along with it. Unfortunately, you have some, and this happens in all sizes, but recently you'll see some that take it to a little bit more of a level like, okay, I'm plus size, but I'm going to be blah out in the open, and then I'm going to have this role showing, or and I don't have personally an issue with it, but if you're going to show it, let it show properly. Or I can wear what I want because it's my movement, and but that's not what it meant. If you're 24 but you're wearing a size 18 and it's barely covering anything, that's not whatever. Or you're trying to fit into the uh, thick term that you see in some cultures or stuff. So you're going to wear it tight and try to make, or you'll see some that are 8, 10 wearing something really tight to fit in to make you feel join into the sizes that are larger. So that's also been an issue.
yeah. It's definitely, I mean, you're just saying all kinds of stuff because in essence, some of these girls are being, what's the word I want to use? They are being overly sexualized.
Mhm.
And it's a struggle because society wants to tell us we're not attractive because we are larger, we're unhealthy. You hear that a lot. You're unhealthy, you need to lose weight. No one should be promoting to look that way. And the list just goes on and on of the things that you hear over time. And so some of these girls, they're finally, for once in their life, getting attention. They're finally getting people, telling them they look nice, telling them they look beautiful. And what's starting to happen is a flip is starting to occur to where now, once upon a time, when you wore clothes, you had to look like a potato sack, you were frumpy, you couldn't really tell if you had a shape or not. To now, the flip side of that is happening where people feel they have to be naked, they have to bear it all because now people are telling me I'm attractive for once in my life. So one thing I do talk about on my channel is dressing according to your body type. Now I am not here to tell anyone what they can and cannot wear. If that is what floats your boat, then do you. But one thing I have always been complimented on is that whatever I usually wear is considered classy. That is
Mhm.
what I would prefer for me, but different strokes for different folks. But I prefer to keep it classy. I don't need to expose everything in order to be considered attractive. Now, of course, that comes with doing some work, with yourself. You have to eventually have a conversation with yourself and go, what am I trying to obtain? What am I trying to do? What is the message that I'm sending? Where am I trying to go from here? Because your future matters. You don't want to, things happen in life, right? Let's say something happens to you and you all of a sudden become like a Michelle Obama. I'm sure when she was a teenager, she had no clue she would end up being the first lady. But as things progress and you're starting to look forward with your life, you have to start thinking about right now. What am I doing right now that's going to send me where I'm trying to go? So the unfortunate part is a lot of women are not having that conversation with themselves right now. They're
Mhm.
not thinking in advance, this is where I'm trying to go. They are, for once in their life, getting attention that they really enjoy, and they are feeding on it, but it's to an end. You know, that's not going to always be that way. It's going to end at some point, and you have to be able to look back at your life and what you're doing and be proud of it, whatever that may be. If you're proud of it, then do you. But for me, I look at my life and I go, where am I trying to get from here? And what does that look like for me now? So I don't want to be half nude on the internet. I have done bikini try-ons and things of that nature, but I don't want that to be what I'm known for. I don't want to my dad is a pastor, my mom is a first lady. I don't want them to be embarrassed by the things that their daughter is doing. But at the same token, I want to do what's going to make me happy. And sometimes that's not going to always align with everyone else.
Right. You
So,
have to do especially you have to do what's going to make it align with you. But you also have to, like you said, it would taste, because eventually you're going to look back at that. And there's a word that I've always tried to impart on others, is there's a level of responsibility. Is the word. Because what are you going to leave? What is your going to be your legacy? Yes, we all do some things that maybe this may not should have happened. But if this is a continual thing, then you have to look at what's the next level of responsibility that's going to come on for the generations afterwards. Because now that young lady, that young adult, what have you, see that, and they feel that that kind of gives them that level of empowerment, that license to whatever do certain things. Let's use an example when it may not be the best because they not in committee in the size category. But if you see some of the younger rappers in the late '90s, early 2000s, as you may say, Foxy Brown, Kim, what have you, something at that time. There was a level of strong femininity and independence and what have you, but there was also a lot of sexualization with that, and a lot of people felt that was okay. But then now, for me, I can't speak for everybody, but for me, I felt like okay, you have that, but there needs to be some level of tame. You need to show another side of that, and that wasn't exactly shown very well or often. And now you have a little of, unfortunately, those things influence cultures, and now you see it where it is now. You see, there are those who may have issues with Lizzo. There may be those who may have issues with Tabria Majors, just whatever the case may be. And is the level of respect, and then there's also how you react to it. We've seen a lot of people go after Serena Williams, and because they want to call her plus size or what have you. I personally am not even caring if you're plus size or not. My only care is about your own personal health and happiness. But they come back after her for that, and you've seen how she had to respond a certain way. So there's a lot that goes into that.
right.
Okay. Now, when as you've grown in this, you've also moved on, and you have a wonderful family and things like that. How does you have a wonderful, very kind husband? What is his thoughts regarding all of this? And he's part of Aronda Company.
Well, when I met him, I was already doing this. I didn't have my company, but I was already, a fashion blogger on YouTube. So he literally jumped right in and helped. He's very savvy with computers, and he's very savvy with cameras and things of that nature. So he quickly kind of took on the technical part of it. And that really helped me out a lot because it helped me focus more on the creative side of what I was trying to do. And then my son came along slightly after my channel took off. And he is, I guess because he's seen it so long, as soon as you put a camera in front of his face, the first thing he says is, welcome to my channel. So he will immediately start posing. As soon as he sees a camera, he's in front of the camera. He's, trying to find his spot. So it's pretty hilarious, actually.
That's a joy. That's something that I wish we do with all of our children, both men and women, because the children need to see that in that level of positivity, and it's a joy. And I mentioned your husband because one of the great things is that a lot of men do not understand how to support and love their partner, whether they're dating, their serious relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, or they're married, or even happen to be ex. How to support them without feeling understanding that you're not minimizing them. You're not just doing it because it's their time, what have you. This is a business, and this is how you kind of grow together. And it's a joy to see that level of commitment and honesty with that.
Yes, it's a struggle. I know I've had to defend certain things that it's not always positive. It's still a
Mhm.
struggle. There's still the male ego at the end of the day with some things. So, but what I did appreciate about him was that he wanted to support the dream that I had, even if some of it he didn't understand. He's more of a private person, and I'm living my life kind of out loud, and by him being there, he has to, in some senses, live some of his life out loud as well. So I try to be, respectful of him kind of wanting his own privacy and things of that nature. And right now we are not together, but he's still very supportive, from where he is. And I can't take away all of the hard work he's done, because he really does work behind the scenes really hard to make sure I can do what it is that I want to do. So I give him kudos for that, even though, a lot of it still is hard for him. So that's the reality of it.
Understand. Um, how what's the next level? What's the next goal? You're only 25 years old. So what's the next I tease? Because that's what you look. I tell women all the time, this whole bit about don't ask a woman age. I Lord believe forgive me, but damn it to hell, that's one of the biggest lies we've ever told women. I'm gonna say it till I blew our face because learned from many years ago, my great grandmother. That's one of those things they told women that so you could focus on beauty, stay in the kitchen, all these other stuff, a woman's place, all the BS lies. Even the toilet seat, all of this stuff was just lies are put out there to get women to focus on something so the men could do whatever. And obviously at that time, for unfortunately history and time, the whole idea is what they want versus women and giving women the rights and respect. And I've always said, be proud of your age, because, uh, a lot of women don't make it. And unfortunately, we're dealing in a society right now where many of our women of color are missing. They don't get the same attention as others when there's kidnapping, all domestic violence sometimes, and then also we have many. The last 5 7 years, many have been passing away during childbirth. So it's just a lot, and things. So God be the glory. I'm grateful that you're here.
Yeah, amen. Because when I had my son, let me tell you, I had to fight with my nurse. I had to. And I want to
Tell that
say,
story.
because I'm glad you actually brought that up, because we have a tendency to think that because someone is in the medical field, they know what they're doing.
Hmm.
And that is not true. I've been in the medical field since I was 19. So I've been privy to learn some things over time. And everything that your doctor's telling you, your nurse is telling you, or whoever, is not always true. You
Yeah,
have to do your own research for yourself. And if it was not for me knowing some things for myself, or feeling within myself that something that she was telling me to do at the time of my delivery was not right, I think my son would have some type of disability right now to this
Mhm.
day, because she was trying to get me to do something when I'm literally telling her, like, I'm in active labor, he's coming, and she wants me to get on a yoga ball. Man,
No,
I'm telling you that his head is down there. I'm not getting on a yoga ball. And she literally tried to force me on this ball. I had already been given an epidural. I told her that I was partially numb. I could still feel on one side. She would not listen to me. Um, I was telling her it was wearing off and things of that nature. But praise be to God that that actually happened, because I ended up having to try to fight her off of me in order to secure having a healthy child. So,
okay.
when you feel something is not right, you have to kind of go with it. And sometimes you get the label of being a hard person,
That
but
trouble client, that trouble patient.
right.
Yeah.
But you have to take up for yourself at the end of the day, So I'm a nice person. I believe in helping people. I believe in sticking up for people when something's not right. However, if you are doing something that is counterproductive of me having a good life, I'm going to say I don't agree, and that's not what I'm doing. You
God,
know?
I'm grateful that you bring that to tell that story because, and I understand some women are not able to tell their individual stories, but for whatever reason, and I understand because it's a process for everybody. But I'm grateful because more people need to hear that story. And a woman, they see the thing is you're what they may call real. You look like them, they feel like you, all these other things. So there's a level of relationship that they can already have with you naturally from all what you've spoken and the unfortunate situations that you had to go through. And now for you to be able to impart, explain, and have that type of dialogue, that's very important. So then now, hopefully, that sound of my voice, both men and women can give that information and share with their partners who are having their children, or the women who are having their children, whether individually or with some support. And unfortunately, not many are not with support. They have to understand, and especially we're living in a society where a lot of states are trying to take that power, those rights, and their women's mouths away,
Mhm.
from that. Because now there's laws. Besides the whole abortion thing, there's laws that where they're trying to tell you you have to do these things with the nurses and the medical society, or because of how they may list your chart and information. Now they don't want to cover it, and now they want you to pay the 14,000, 18,000, whatever it costs nowadays to have a child. So we
Yep.
have to be aware. You have to vote because those things are important.
Yes, absolutely. You have to vote. Absolutely.
You have a son now, and and I'd be remiss in not asking you, as a woman of a color and having a son in today's world. What is your thoughts on
I am a overprotective mama bear.
that?
Um, I have been pushing education on my son since the day he came home from the hospital. I am very huge on him being knowledgeable. I am very huge on him knowing beyond what someone says he should know at his age. I have been teaching him his ABCs, counting, Spanish, the parts of Spanish that I can remember. He knows how to do addition and subtraction already. Um,
Mm,
like I am just really huge on him being a smart kid, to be intelligent. But on the flip side of that, I also want him to be able to make smart decisions. I want him to be able to weigh what situation he's in. So when certain things happen, I'm not quick to rush and help him. What I say is, okay, let's think this out. You have this option and then you have this option. Which one would you like to do? And I try
I
to
would-
give him real life scenarios. I try to help him develop his decision making early, because that's important. I'm not going to always be there to tell him, don't do that, don't go over there, don't touch that. So some things needs to be real life experiences so that he can get it in his head, like, Mom told me not to do that because this and this and this could happen. That's the way I was raised. Thank God my parents were not parents who said, just don't do it because I said so. They explained it to me. That helped me once I was out of their home to make smart decisions on my own. It's a hindrance to just tell someone, don't do it because I told you don't do it. Now you're not telling them why. And so when they get out in life, they start making these terrible decisions. And the parents are like, oh my God, I don't understand. Well, you never really gave them all the meat and potatoes that they needed in order to make, smart decisions. So with my son, I am very protective. I'm very big on education. Education is first. Learn what you need to learn. But I also say, whatever it is you want to do in life, I want to support you. I don't want to be that mom who's like, I foresee, because I like criminal justice. I watch a lot of crime shows. I watch a lot of court shows. And because of that, he told me the other day, Mom, I want to be a lawyer, and that's wonderful for me. I'm like, yes, be a lawyer, son. However, let's just say as time goes on, he decides he wants to be a musician or something else. I don't want to be that parent who is making him or forcing him to live a life that's not him. I want him to be true to himself, and I want him to do what makes him happy. So as I see different things develop in him, like I notice he likes to sing. I can sing, so he likes to mimic me. And so things like that, as he gets older, I want to introduce him to things that's going to build his his interest and make him a more well-rounded child. So
Absolutely.
that's my goal for him.
So you hold it out on me. Okay, I let it go. But now you're a singer and then you're in the medical field. Okay, now who you holding out on me? And things. So you're a nurse too?
I don't tell very many people I can sing. People who grew up with me know I can sing, but it's not something I tell a lot of people. But my son,
You done told the 5 million that's watching this show right now.
my son though, he's been big on singing since he was a baby. He was a very aggressive, angry little baby. He did a lot of crying. He was always upset. He wouldn't let anyone else hold him. So when he would have his little crying fits, I learned by accident one day that he responds to singing. So I would have to sing to him to get him to calm down, and it worked. And to this day, he is huge on singing. So when I give him a bath, when we're cooking, when we're doing things, that where I kind of can't really 100% focus on him, that's what we do. We sing. And he'll come to me and say, Mom, let's sing this song. So music is huge in my family. My dad can play every instrument. My mom is a singer. All of her sisters can sing. My grandparents could sing. So music is huge. They actually had a group that traveled around when I was a child and played at different churches all over pretty much the United States. So music is huge to my family. And so me and my mom earned the nickname. They call us hummingbirds because
Mm.
we'll hum while we're doing things, or songbird because we'll start singing while we're doing whatever. So
I can already see you're going to be that mom that all the kids come after school, cooking everything, singing and stuff like that, and they're still going to be like, "What's the homework? What's the grades and everything else?" You ain't getting a cookie on CNA or something
yes, absolutely.
like that.
Absolutely.
What's I may have asked this, but what's the next level for our goal for your company, and what's the next as we enter in 2022 and going forward? What's the next goals and visions for your you and your organization now?
So my next goal is to just get the word out there to make it more known. I would love to start personally styling people. I would love to see the company grow, of course. Every, entrepreneur wants to see their baby grow. So that would be huge for me. I would love to maybe make it to TV and be, a wardrobe stylist, or, you know, I don't know, help, be able to, Wendy Williams used to do that on her show. She would let different people come and model their clothing or whatever. the sky's the limit. I'm not going to stop. As long as there's breath in my body, I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep dreaming big. And, every opportunity that I can get to teach women to not hate their curves, but to dress them, to love them, to embrace them, not be embarrassed by them. Don't let the world tell you how to feel about your body. If you're uncomfortable with your body, you have what it takes to change it. However, in the meantime, we're going to do some self-love. We're going to love on ourselves, and we're going to dress them in a Ronda company. That's my plan.
There you go. There you go. So when once we start taking this on the road, Lord willing, and things like that, I'm gonna have to give you a call along with some others, and we're gonna start having more of these discussions because I love to start trouble where people making people have discussions that they don't want to have, but they need it. There are questions that are needed to be answered, and obviously, I'm not a woman. I'm a man with curves, so. So we need to do have more discussions. I mean, I tell you this, we need to have these discussions. I tell everybody is the sexism for the man part. You got to
Mhm.
understand. You roll with me on this. There's, we have sexy, curvy, whatever. Now, do we ever call a woman's line big and tall? You're gonna get shot. If you ever comes, the guys, or even before that, we were called husky. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you would get shot. So can we come up with something a little bit more respectful for us, man? And then
I
we're
agree.
and then at the same time, we are not always big and tall. I may be a little bit big now, but I'm definitely not tall. And things I can
Hmm.
stand, and I'm grateful to stand. And even those who can't, we need something else. It's like, oh, I like a big and tall. What happened? Can we just be tall or big? Would that satisfy? But I may, I'm not. My inseam is not going to be 38 and 40.
Right.
Anything like
Right.
that. So we need to work on that in things of society and those type of things. Um, a couple of things in closing. What are some of the lessons that you've been wonderfully successful in this business, and I could pray for continued success? What are some of the things that you say lessons learned from your vantage point of how we, as a woman, as a business owner, as a career, that you would say, and this a different answer for everybody, but what is your answer in terms of your experience that lessons learned or some things you wish you could have done differently before doing certain levels within your business?
I would definitely. Now, I did do research. I did a lot of research. I researched for almost a year before I started my business, but
Amen.
I
Amen.
still don't feel I know, most of the things that I need to know. So, I don't know. I feel like maybe I would do something like that differently. I also started my company in the middle of a quarantine. I don't know how crazy I was to do that, but maybe I would have done that differently. And also, I am sort of a workaholic, which I get from my dad, and I wish I could clone myself so that I could, be more involved with my family and because I do work full time, and then of course, as a business owner, you work your business 24/7. And then also creating content, that's a lot of work as well. So I feel like I spent a lot of time working from 2018 on down to 2020, when I finally feel like I had kind of like a nervous breakdown. It just was too much. I was not taking the break that I needed to take, and I was not caring for myself the way I needed to care for myself. So I have learned that if I'm starting to feel burnt out, I need to take a break. I need to take a break. I need to take a pause. And I also need to learn to live in the moment a little more, because when you're a dreamer, you're always thinking of the next best thing, the next big step, that sometimes you're not reveling in what you've succeeded in so far. So definitely more self-love, more self-care is what is the biggest takeaway I have picked up so far.
So you about to make me cry. You already got me crying about the pregnancy, or about to cry, make me cry with joy. And now I'm about to cry for this. I tell you, because those are very heartfelt things that we definitely need to be aware of. Mental health, taking our time, breathing, and be honest. I'm gonna give you your props and your glory, man. For starting a business in pandemic. Many people do. And and let's be honest, you already had your business going. It was just was a formality. The pandemic and things. People knew what was going on. You was charging. You were doing what you needed to do. So, God be glory. I'm proud of you so very much for that and things, because that's very important to have and ready to be shown within it. So, thank you so very kindly. Um, Now, how can people contact you? I've had it up on the screen the whole half the time of the show. I apologize, but Glam Goddess is on
I
Instagram.
am on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, Snapchat. All of it is Glam Goddess. I also sell the clothing that I was sent from companies on Poshmark. So that's Glam Goddess, Glam_Goddess. And then my businesses are also on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and that's all Aronda Company.
Okay,
So
right.
I am, as you can see, I have a lot of social media, so I'm always working.
That's not a problem. That's not a problem. I can totally understand. I can totally understand, and that's a beautiful thing. Content, and the one of the thing is you're willing to be a face of your brand. Things and stuff like that. Although I know a couple of times I've asked you about a couple of clothing items, but we're gonna let that one slide. I'm gonna get you anyway. I'm gonna get
Yes, I have to tell people I am not a model. I am
you.
more of a, sit and look pretty.
No, no,
But
no.
modeling, I feel like I got two left feet. So you got to recognize where your gifts are.
That's you can say, but that could be worked on because there are people with two right feet. So you can be there. Trust me, we're not going to let you get away with that. And anybody that has, within the sound of my voice, that has ever had an opportunity to meet you, would honestly say the same thing. Because it's not about whether you're walking up and down the aisle and things. There's a level of grace and things that you already present, the level of work that you do as a mother and as a woman entrepreneur in this community. And we need more of that in the field, not to take away from anybody else, but I think sometimes in different fields, we're missing our bedside manner. We're
Hmm.
missing the level of grace and understanding, the joy. Different women that come by you, you know how to hand ebb and flow, as they say within the business, whereas some is like, chewing your head off, over the littlest of things. And I tell people all the time, they fuss about what goes on here. Y'all never make it in some of these other places because of some of the stuff that they say and do. So you have to have a little bit of, not that I'm condoning of it, but you have to have a little bit of a tough skin
Yeah.
within what it is. So, but Miss Aronda, I thank you so very kindly. And thanks for taking the time out to speak with us, sharing your knowledge, your skills, your experiences, not consider a robbery of everything. And I thank you very kindly.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. You'll hold on with us. And everybody, thank you so very much for getting back going in the flow, getting more interviews with wonderful, great people that you may or may not have heard. Look forward to Miss Rhonda Company. Is going to be out there soon. Her picture's going to be in the billboards of Times Square and everything else and so forth. So, but if you have any questions, comments, or concern, please feel free to email us. We're on all social media with Enliven Global Media. And you can also see on our website, I'm sorry, on the screen, enlivengm at gmail.com. If you happen to have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to contact us or comment us on the YouTube channel here. Thank you so very kindly. And again, may you have a blessed day. May make some good decisions and be good to each other. Bye bye.